Hey guys, so Angry Guy here, and this is a doozy of an article. 41% of millennials want to leave the United States. Okay, this actually comes from TransferWise Works, and basically, they in a survey they found that 41% of millennials want to live abroad, according to uh, to their anchor index, a survey that explores how strongly Americans are tied to the U.S. as their permanent place of residence. So they surveyed over 3,000 adults in the U.S. and learned quite a few interesting things. Roughly 1 in 6 Americans are looking to live abroad, which would choose Canada. Okay, and though they like to say West Coast, best coast, people in the West Coast are most likely to seek residence abroad, and those in the Northeast are most likely to remain. This is actually kind of interesting. Check out a few other interesting stats about the future American expats. Oh, shoots. Welcome, Holly's EXO. Holly says, I bet 80% of millennials want to leave the UK. It's so much worse here. It's funny, Holly, because I'm like, it's frightening when I hear state comments like yours, because like it's pretty bad in the United States, and then I hear the UK it's bad. It's like almost every English speaking country right now seems to be going through so much turmoil. And I will say this: when it comes to the UK and the United States, we are intertwined. The United States and the UK. I don't want to say we're the same country, but a lot of times it feels like we're the same country. When I would speak to my little sister in the UK, she's like, "Oh my gosh, something just happened? Are you okay?" I'm like, "What? How do you know about that?" Like everything that happens there, we know about. Everything that happens here, it's vice versa. And it's so intriguing that millennials are struggling so. Holly says, "Yeah, the Western world is." It it is so true, right? It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. And I'm looking at this, I'm looking at it like, where do millennials go from here? And the truth is that I think I said this years ago that, people were going to leave the West, and we're witnessing that mass exodus right now. It's funny because these countries don't seem to understand that it's their young people, it's the young people within these countries that determine whether or not they continue to survive and thrive. It's the millennial generation. And I'm going to be honest with you, like like even millennials don't want to be millennials. Like I have a doctor who's 32 years old, and this is so serious. And every time I've seen her, like like whenever, like, because I complain about all kinds of things, the thing she takes away from that is, don't call her a millennial. Like, don't call her a millennial. Like, she's married and everything, and she's like, don't call her a millennial. Don't put her in that category. Like, millennials don't even want to be called millennials anymore because the lifestyle for millennials has just gone downhill. Underdog says, "Tis they want to leave, but with what money?" Here's the thing. I've talked about this before. I've said that, you know, we will potentially witness people being forced to stay in the United States, forced to stay in the UK. Look at what's happening with Brexit. Look at what's happening right now with the trade issue. All of these things are going to culminate in a circumstance where they're going to start like seizing passports. They're going to stop. They're going to start preventing people from just rapidly leaving the country. If you think I'm joking, look at Venezuela. In Venezuela, and I have a friend in Venezuela. He said he's an engineer, and all the engineers left, like most of them, the engineers, the scientists, all the people that developed the infrastructure, they left the country. And we need to really acknowledge that young people, millennials, and Gen Z, this is the future of the country. And, you can't just jump from millennials to Generation Z or Generation Alpha and think that they're going to pick up the slack where we've left off. It doesn't work like that. Many of them are still working through life themselves. So, the generation that actually pays the most money into the economy are 40 somethings. When you're around 40 years old, That is the group of people that pay most of the taxes in society. But millennials only hold about 3% of the nation's wealth. What does that tell you about millennials? How are millennials going to pay taxes if they don't have any money right now? It's like a continuously declining situation. And there's really no simple answer for it. Okay. I mean, guys, I remember I talked about FEMA camps years ago, and as situations get worse, that's usually when FEMA camps start to pop up, and people, and they here's what they do. They call them temporary housing facilities. Okay, they call them temporary housing facilities, and people go there and they don't realize that they're not going to leave. Look at it's just mind blowing. And the funny thing is, like, you can't, if you try to even complain or say anything these days, your voice is, they try to silence your voice instantly. I don't even know if this video is going to stay on YouTube. I'm being honest with you, because just discussing this article can get this video demonetized. I'm serious. Just talking about the fact that 41% of millennials want to leave the United States can get the video demonetized just for discussing that. It's because it's such heavy censorship these days. You can't have an opinion and you can no longer tell the truth. You cannot even discuss what's happening in the world, okay? Because it may upset someone or it may awaken someone. And that's one unfortunate situation that we're looking at right now, is that those who have control don't want you to know. It's like, it's a situation. They want to keep us, I would use the word ignorant, unaware, unable to make rational and reasonable decisions that will allow us to live higher quality, better lives. It's really upsetting, and it's really painful to watch this happening. And I look at my generation and I think, my gosh, my generation is literally collapsing, has collapsed under the weight of everything. I mean, the millennials, they didn't recover. There are fewer millennials working today than before the Great Recession. I want people to think about that. There are fewer millennials working today than before the Great Recession. That should just help to signify how serious and how bad things absolutely are. And statistically, they have been saying for years that millennials will never recover from the Great Recession, because they can't. Because when we graduated from college, we ended up in a terrible economic situation. And those are the years that we're supposed to build wealth. Many of us are either still living with our parents or just barely getting by. We don't have any real wealth. Let me tell you something, like, for millennials listening right now, if you're a millennial with $10,000 in your bank account, that's not money. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of you are going to be like, wait, hold on a minute, Angry. What are you talking about? That is money. No, it's not. At 30, if you're like a 36-year-old millennial, okay, and you have $10,000 in your bank account, that's not good money. I'm gonna be honest. If that's all the money you have to your name, that's not good money. I'm so serious, okay? Like, the wealth that that millennials have right now is so small. They hold 3% of the nation's wealth is held by millennials. 3%, okay? 3% of the nation's wealth. And what? It's going to be over the next 30 years, it'll be transferred over to millennials from boomers. First off, there's nothing left. I'm just going to let you all know, there's no money left, okay? The party is over. The party is done. There's no money left. Those of you think you're going to get an inheritance from your boomer parents, it's not happening, okay? It's not happening. My parents, they bought a house for like next to nothing, and then kept on refinancing it until nothing was left in it. And then, the bank took it. That's it. This is the common situation that many millennials are finding themselves. There's no generational wealth for us. This is the most frightening part of it. There is no generational wealth for millennials. Every generation has had generational wealth. The biggest, and you can see the effects of what happens when generational wealth doesn't occur. If you look at African Americans, many of them did not have generational wealth. Okay, and you can see the impact of that in their communities. Millennials, as a larger group, we are lacking in generational wealth. We don't have any. Okay, we are not going to inherit money from our parents. There's not going to be like, oh my gosh, we're going to get the house, or we're going to get all this money from their that's left over in their savings and retire. No, there's no money there. There's nothing left. All right. I mean, we're not even, to be very honest with you, we're not even inheriting their junk. We're the only thing we're inheriting from the boomers are their bills. All right. Nature Monk says 6,000 evictions per year in the US. Guys, it is unreasonable to think that everything is going to be okay. And then when almost half of millennials want to leave the United States, you have to know it's bad. Okay? You have to know it's unbelievable. Let me put this right here. Happy Station says Black millennials have been seriously shafted by society. The thing is that it's now becoming all of society, okay? Because what once was localized to the African American communities is now happening to the wider group of millennials. Like, we're basically left with large amounts of debt. We're left with we can't buy food, we can't buy clothes, we can't buy homes. Forget about buying a home. We can't buy homes. So that's another thing. We can't get married. We can't have children. Okay, we can't do anything. We cannot move forward in our lives at all, and we're so. Oh my gosh. Dr. McDonald says, I'm ashamed to be a millennial snowflake generation. It's funny because while on one hand, you want to say, being a millennial, you look at what the generation is like today, it's hard. It's on the other hand, you have to look at it and say, this is something that we did not create for ourselves. And we still have to fix the problem, but it's increasingly hard to fix the problem when you have another generation that continues to not hold us back, but forcibly is doing this. Happy Station says, homes are a mini castle well, guess what? We're not going to have them. We're not going to have houses. Okay. We're not. So it's cool, man. You don't like them. It's cool. Cause we're not going to have them. All right. We don't even have the luxury of these things. We don't have the luxury of these things. We don't. Where are they planning? LaShawn says, where are they planning to go? Oh my gosh. So, this is something interesting. So a number of different millennials are finding different ways to survive. Some millennials that are fleeing the country are becoming cave dwellers. So millennials who have, let's say, large amounts of student loan debt, some of them are actually moving into caves. And I talked about this previously. Some of them are moving into caves. Yes, they're leaving the country and they're going into like the Amazon or remote jungles of India. This is actually happening. All right. It's been happening for years. And they're going to remote locations and basically hiding out there for as long as they possibly can. Okay. That's what's happening right now with the millennials. They're fleeing the country and they're going to remote places where they can't be found and student loan debt cannot be recovered, or at least not very easily. I mean, it's I shouldn't say the word. I shouldn't say it's kind of sad. It's very, very sad. It's extremely sad, and it's almost humbling. I would use the word humbling when you look at the situation and you realize that this is my generation. My generation is now at the point where we cannot survive anymore. We can't live. We can't buy food. We can't do anything. I mean, it's just so bad. We're not even adults. This is like, what adulthood? We have all these responsibilities, but we don't have the same privileges. We're completely behind. And guys, it's like our futures have been robbed from us. Our futures have been robbed from us. We can't. It's on all these useless degrees. And the funny thing is, like, it doesn't matter if you get a degree in like a really great subject these days. I mean, you can get a degree in medicine and you can still ruin your life with a degree in medicine these days, because the amount of money that it costs to get those degrees is absolutely ridiculous. All right, spending upwards of $1 million sometimes just to get a medical degree so that you could work for the next decade trying to like make $1 million. Like think about this. You go to medical school and you spend $1 million to become a doctor, and then what? You then spend the next 20, 30 years trying to pay that back? It's insanity. And then for people who take out degrees in subjects like, art and even in business, it's hard. I didn't make $15 an hour until I got a bachelor's in business. Okay? Until I got my bachelor's in business, that was the first time when I first started making roughly $15 an hour. I didn't make $15 an hour until I got my bachelor's in business. Now that was a good 7, 8 years ago, but not a lot has changed. There's a lot of attorneys walking around right now that are working for minimum wage. You heard me, like 10.22 an hour. 10.22 an hour. I cannot, guys, you know how sad it is when you get into an Uber? You get into an Uber and you're like, hey bro, what do you do for a living? I'm a lawyer. Oh, I'm a lawyer. I'm just doing this, Oh, I'm an engineer. I'm a teacher. I'm a professor. I teach electrical engineering at this university. And most of these people are young kids. Like these, I shouldn't say young kids. They're like, they're millennials. They're people in their mid 20s or even in their mid 30s or late 30s. And they have no money. They legitimately have no money. How do you spend 8 years or more of your life in postgraduate education, do everything you're supposed to do, and now you can't even pay back your loans? Okay? Guys, I kept telling you that when it comes to investing, you have to invest in yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. And the situation is so grave right now as we're tumbling through this recession that we have to literally know that it's not going to last forever. Okay. And as it comes, and I mean, like literally, Fidelity reported that all of their private equity customers are preparing for a recession. All of them. As we talk about this, guys, I want to remind you that we actually have an incredible course on cryptomoney.academy called An Expat's Guide to Decentralized Banking and Off-the-Grid Living. So in this long-awaited course, you're going to learn how to completely live off the grid using only cryptocurrency. And basically, you'll learn how to do all kinds of things, all kinds of banking using only crypto, using debit cards and credit cards without having a bank account, powered entirely by crypto, direct deposit to crypto, living off the grid using crypto. So for those of you that want to get out of the country, while you still can and want to get away from and get off the grid, if you want to get out of the banking system, I haven't had a bank account in 2 years. Then this is for you, and it's for everyone. I'm going to be honest, like fiat currency is not going to exist in 10 years. It's like it's gone in 10 years. So it's the best time to start doing this. I mean, like I do everything using cryptocurrency, everything. I pay my bills using cryptocurrency. I buy food using cryptocurrency. If I had a car, I would pay for my gas using cryptocurrency. Okay. I go to an ATM, guys. I take out at a general ATM. I can usually take out around $400 to $500 at a time. If I want to take out more than that, I can go to a crypto ATM and take out up to like $4,500. And that's as a single ATM. If I want to take out more money in a single day, I can take out probably around $15,000 to $20,000 in a single day, pretty safely using just using cryptocurrency. I can get $15,000 in cold hard cash. Okay, if needs be. That is to really illustrate how important it is right now to prepare for your future. Okay, this course is actually goes for $600, but we're actually doing a special this week, so you can get it for $199 during the weekend sale, and you can basically begin, preparing for this. Look at what's happening, like what she said like what's happening in the UK right now. Okay, what was her name? Holly Holly pointed out, like what Holly said earlier, like the UK is a total mess. UK is a total mess right now. I mean, she said, I bet 80% of millennials want to leave the UK because it's so much worse here. All right. Guys, think about this very carefully. And this is a thing that's happening specific. This is a millennial issue. This is our issue that we have to face. You can, if you want to pick up the course, you can find a link to the course in the description of the video, as well as other courses. But I'm just like, I don't know what else to say. Happy Station says the millennial generation is probably the first generation where more men. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: even the relationship status, like marriage has gone down. Marriage has declined rapidly, rapidly. Will Wide says, I just shorted Ethereum just before and made $350. Okay. So guys, this is Will Wild says, I just shorted Ethereum and made just before and made $350. Okay. I mean, guys, I've been teaching you guys how to do this for almost a year now, how to make money from crypto, how to transition to crypto. And I've said this before that, like, this is the time in your life when you're going to have to make these decisions. You're going to have to decide whether or not you want to make a change that can help impact the rest of your life. Because guys, there's no social security for us. It's a fraud. There's no social. Stop it. We won't get social security. There's no social security for me and you, man. There's no social security for us. Okay. That does not exist for us millennials. There will be no social security. There's no pension. There's none of that. The only way that we're going to survive is using investments, by making the right investments, okay? Investing in emerging technology. That's how we're going to survive. Those of us that choose to go and buy gold, and most of us can't even afford it, those are the ones that are going to get left behind, okay? It's the honest to goodness truth. Happy Station says, what do you think about millennials moving to South Korea to teach English? LaShawn says, nope. I'm going to be honest with you. Things aren't so good in South Korea right now. Things are not the greatest in South Korea right now. And my reasoning for saying this is I'm not moving to South Korea, especially because South Korea, for one, is right next to North Korea. And you guys need to think about that very, very carefully. South Korea is right next to North Korea. And South Korea's economy is actually struggling. They're finding that a significant number of women, especially millennial women, are actually living in poverty in South Korea right now as their economy has stagnated. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere near South Korea. I mean, I actually watch videos online of people like living in these tiny apartments in South Korea. They're like, oh yeah, it's okay, man. It's all good, man. No, it's not, bro. We actually, now, in addition to that course, we have how to make massive profit off the stock market using crypto, because there's going to be a lot of opportunity to make money as the stock market is crashing. And you can actually invest in crypto using stocks, and you can even take out your stocks. You can even withdraw your funds from stocks at ATMs. So that is actually something that's in there. That's something that's in this course for you. This course goes for $300. You can get that for $199. And let me see. I mean, we have so many great courses. Making massive profit off cryptocurrency in a global recession. That course is $1,000 course, but you can get it for $200 during the for $200 during the weekend sale, which is happening now. We have crypto secrets they don't want you to know. We have mastering crap coins. We have how blockchain actually works. We have make massive profit without taking massive losses. We have how to choose and invest in altcoins that will increase by 100,000 times and make you massive profit. For those of you that don't know anything about crypto, we also have, don't forget, the introduction to cryptocurrency course, which is just $300 during the weekend sale. And a slew of other amazing options. Crypto Millionaire, how to quickly withdraw your crypto in cash from any ATM and other crypto to cash conversion methods. This one, we have a $3,000 course, how to get tons of valuable cryptocurrency for free without mining or paying for it. That course is $600, but you can get it this course during the sale for you can get this course during the weekend sale that's happening now for just $600, but it usually goes for $3,000. Guys, that's it. Like that's it. And you'll on all the links in the description of the video if you want to get a course. But if you don't start making changes in your life and start being more practical about what's happening in the economy, then you're going to get left behind. Okay. This is like so scary. Will Wild says the EU is broke. The EU is broke. Like seriously, like guys, the first comment on my video was from a young lady in the UK. Like things are worse in the UK. Like it's not that, guys. We're not as divided as people think we are. We've been divided. We've literally been forcibly divided. We need to come together and work together, work for our future as millennials, or we won't have one. And that's just the way I feel about that. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for you right now. If you want to pick up a course from cryptomoney.academy, you can find links in the description of the video. If you have any questions or you have any thoughts about this, the fact that 41% of millennials want to leave the United States, and that some millennials have even gone as far as living in caves after they flee the country. I mean, what do you think? How do you feel about this? And what do you see the future of the United States and the global economy looking like? Me personally, I think that when it comes to a lot of these Western countries, we've basically gone as far as we can go. We have too much debt. It's just too much. And I think what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up seeing a lot of people just leaving the US, going to other countries where there are opportunities, emerging markets in continents like Africa and in Asia, in the Caribbean, places like this where they have emerging markets. But in countries like, in these Western countries, we've destroyed our economies. I shouldn't say we, but the generations before us. There's nothing left. Happy Station says, I don't know about the cave stuff though. Dude, let me tell you something. When you have a lot of student loans and you can't pay them back, cave living is not a bad idea. Okay. I bet you didn't know that student loans are one of the few, if not the only type of debt that you cannot discharge. I don't think you can discharge tax debt. I don't know, but you cannot discharge student loans. So for example, if you go and file for bankruptcy, you cannot get rid of your student loans through bankruptcy. Nope. It's unbelievable. You cannot get rid of student loans through bankruptcy. So you are stuck with that debt for the rest of your life. I want you to consider the implications of that. All right? Because a lot of people don't know that. They're not aware of that. Anyway, that's it. Love Jesus. Get your money. I will catch you in the next one. And peace.